The composting toilets, I think, are one of the greatest successes we have here. And I think all around the world that people should get rid of their water-based toilets and start using composting toilets. Now, the design that I've created is very simple. It's just two large chambers, and there's a seat on top of one chamber, so you sit on that, do your thing, and then you toss in some sawdust afterwards. You put the toilet paper inside the chamber. And these chambers are, like they're 1.5 by 1.5 by 1.5. These are pretty big. Now, that makes them very different than a lot of other composting toilets. The size of the system means that the thermophilic bacteria have a range of humidity levels, and there can be a bigger amount of organisms that are going to process any new material. A lot of people build very small composting toilets that smell bad or don't work well. I think that's a terrible idea because it's like advertising against composting toilets. Most people come here and they're pretty impressed with the toilets as they are. What we do then is we use one side for 6 months, we switch to another side and cover the other one up, and then that one continues composting. By the end of that process, those 6 months, that's no longer human waste. That's dirt. And it looks almost like sawdust when you pull it out because we throw in sawdust after we use it each time. We don't throw in ashes. Some people do that, but I feel like that's going to retard the bacterial activity. One of the strangest things about our toilets is that one day I thought to myself, I wonder if composting worms could survive in there. And so I took the same kind of composting worms that they use to process kitchen scraps, and I tossed them in. And then I checked months later to see if there were worms in there. And yep, there were worms. And so they're actually then physically processing it in a way that the thermophilic bacteria cannot. Also one day I saw dung beetles out on the road, this scarabées, and I put those in there, and they actually physically move the shit around. So you can look down in there, usually at night with a flashlight, and you might see 40 or 50 of them working on this. So there's never any need to get into the toilet to do any maintenance. We don't have to get a shovel and turn it or anything. Occasionally I'll stick a big stick inside the hole and move the mound over because it's mounding up a bit. But I like it because it's really no maintenance. I'll never need a plumber. There's almost no moving parts. The only moving parts are the hinges on the door, the seat, and then the door that you would harvest the fertilizer out of. So there are other people who have toilet systems that need fans and chemicals and all sorts of complexity. There's even expensive composting toilets you can buy. But you don't need to buy any of that stuff. Thermophilic bacteria, and in our case worms and then dung beetles, will process all that waste material for you.